Okay, so now we need to install React Router DOM so we can use a router inside our web application. So we just need to do npm install and then React Router DOM. And then we also want to do -s so that we can save it inside our package.json. And it should install React Router DOM for us. If you have issues installing React Router DOM, then it's probably the problem is probably got to do with your cache. So make sure you clear your cache and then try installing it again. So if you want to clear your cache, you just have to do npm cache clean. So npm cache clean, and then you apply the force argument as well. So that way it forces it to be cleared. So in this case ours works fine, but if you have this issue, then I recommend you do npm cache clean. So if we go to app.js, initially I said to make a class component over here, but I don't think we need a class component. A functional component will be even better. Like, it would be just fine. So we will just write rfc and press enter, and it should generate us a functional component. So now we want to import the router so we can actually set up the routes. So we just do import browser router, and we want to name it router, so we'll just do as router so we can use it as a router. And we also need to import route as well, so we can define specific routes. And we want to import it from React Router DOM. So essentially, now we want to return the router. So essentially, a router will allow us to set routes, and when we set those routes, we can navigate to them. So each screen would have its own route, and when we navigate to that route, we can go to that screen. So now we want to make a new folder inside the source folder, and for this folder we will call it containers. So this containers folder, it will have all the web pages. So each of our web page will be stored in containers, and we want to make now a new file, a new page basically, and we will call this Pokedex.js, and this is going to be the main web page, and it will hold all the Pokemons. So it will show all the images just like I showed you in the beginning of the project. So for this Pokedex web page, we want it to be a React functional component, because we're not going to have really many functions for this. We're just going to have the useeffect function, which is like a component did mount. So before we can use this web page, we want to add it as a route inside our router. So if we head over to app.js and we have this router right over here, we can make a new route, and we will include the path for it. So for this path, we'll just call it Pokedex. Oh no, we'll just make it /, so it will be our main index page. And we will now connect it to the components, so we can connect it to app.js. So we can connect it to Pokedex. Just write in Pokedex, and it should automatically import it for us. And now we can visit this web page simply by running this web application and then going on just /, so the index route. So the document route will be actually the Pokedex container. So now we want to test this application just by putting a hello world over here, just to make sure everything's working. So we're just going to use h1 and then hello world. And now, so let's run this project. npm start. So some of you might get an error when you run this, because especially on Mac, I think you're going to get this error. What you want to do is make a new env file, .env, and you want to skip preflight check. So in capitals you want to write skip _ preflight _ check, and you want to set this to true. And now we can save this and then npm start, and that should fix this issue. And now we can run this application. So right over here we have hello world, and it's working as it should be. So let's go back to our code, and let's go and make a new folder. We will call this components now. So this components folder is going to have all of our components. So for example, we'll have like a small card for each Pokemon. We will have like a navigator, and we will put this inside components. App navigator, sorry. So we want to make an app navigator component right here. So we'll do app navigator.js, and this is going to be the header of the website. So we can include this component in all the web pages, and we will have one component that is linked to all the pages. So this will be a React functional component. So we'll just write RFC, and it should automatically generate us a React functional component. And now we want to go to app.js, so we can include this app navigator inside our app.js. So we just simply write app navigator, and Visual Studio Code should find this and import it for us.